Good morning. Good morning. I want to thank everybody for coming out and being here together on this bright, beautiful morning, this exciting morning that we get a chance to announce this next evolution, this next iteration of our citywide hauling program. I'm Melvin Carter, and I have the pleasure of serving as mayor of the city of St. Paul. Today has been a long time coming, and it's another exciting step in our efforts to modernize our residential waste management program in our city. We are thrilled to welcome FCC Environmental Services to St. Paul. 8 years ago, there weren't too many people who looked at trash as an equity issue. But we had a group of neighbors who started a big conversation in our city that said, wait a minute, it's not safe for us to have a handful of different trucks going down every alley in the city every week. It's not good for our roads to have just sort of a wild environment with regard to competition when it comes to garbage collection and all these big rigs. It's not efficient for cleaning and clearing our city, and it certainly doesn't meet our environmental goals. We learned that we can do a whole lot better. Very specifically, it's one area, maybe the only area, where the city requires every resident, every household in our community to participate in a private market, so it makes sense for the city to participate in organizing and addressing quality concerns with regard and consistency with regard to that market. We were the largest American city without organized hauling. And so that meant our streets and alleys were overcrowded, we had inconsistent service, and a documented bell curve of costs across the city. So in 2018, we kicked off a brand new era of trash in St. Paul, launching an ambitious citywide residential garbage program to better facilitate organized collection at a fair, unified cost across the city. In our continued engagement with community members, we refined our processes, heard a lot from neighbors, and explored recommendations from our Garbage Advisory Committee, a few of whom are here today. Would the members of our Garbage Advisory Committee who are here today wave your hands so we can clap for you? Thank you for your work. On how to effectively reduce waste and set us up for long-term success. Today we're excited to announce that we've finalized contracts for the next evolution of our citywide residential garbage program, which provides a more unified and responsive approach to recycling and waste collection. Our continued partnership with Eureka Recycling and our new venture with FCC is a twofold victory that addresses the concerns shared by our residents and advances our sustainability goals for a cleaner St. Paul. By coordinating our garbage, recycling, and litter services, we'll be better equipped to address illegal dumping and public litter throughout our community. We'll be able to focus on alley routes and properties that have historically been challenging for collection. We'll have the ability to respond and deploy resources faster and more efficiently. Most importantly, we'll create a standard level of service that our residents can depend on. Further, with FCC investing $25 million in a new compressed natural gas station, we are poised to create over 60 new high-paying jobs right here in St. Paul. I always talk about how running a city is a team sport. And I'm fortunate to have a number of our teammates with me here today who are just as passionate about the topic of citywide hauling. I'd like to thank first our City Council President, Mitra Jalali. Thank you for your leadership and thank you for being here. In absentia, I'd like to thank Russ Stark, our Chief Resilience Officer at the city and our resident climate expert. I'd like to thank Director of Public Works, Sean Kershaw, thank you, and the entire Public Works staff, please. And specifically our Solid Waste and Recycling Program Manager, Sarah Haas, who has worked tirelessly with residents and haulers across our city, leading us in designing and updating an organized trash system that works better for every home in St. Paul. Sarah, thank you for your work. Most importantly, the work we do in St. Paul can't happen without the direct engagement and involvement of our residents. I already mentioned the members of the Garbage Advisory Committee who are here with us today. But it's important to note that the concerns that we've heard across the city over the past few years The loudest concerns that we've heard, concerns about the ability to opt out or share carts for folks who are who work hard to reduce their waste. The concerns about how our program addresses multi-unit properties, and certainly the concerns about inconsistencies in customer service are all addressed in the recommendations that our Garbage Advisory Committee brought to us. And for that, I'd just like to thank you guys one more time and clap for you one more time. With that, I'd like to welcome Dan Brazel of FCC Environmental Services, a Minnesota native, who will not only help us accomplish our citywide sustainability and waste diversion goals, but will also help invest in our city and ensure that we have dedicated essential waste services for our residents. Dan, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that introduction, Mayor Carter, and well said. Good morning. My name is Dan Brazel, and I'm the CEO of FCC Environmental Services. I'm honored and excited to be here with you all today as we celebrate and officially announce the beneficial partnership between the City of St. Paul and FCC to bring a more sustainable collection approach to solid waste. As the CEO of this company, as Mayor Carter just mentioned, this has special meaning to me as I'm a Minnesota native, born and raised, and also a former resident of St. Paul. When we consider the mission of both our company and the city, this contract aligns with many factors such as waste reduction, beneficial reuse, recycling, diversion, and so much more. Our operations and engineering teams spent countless trips, hours, and efforts to analyze the city, all the intricate alleyways, the T-alleyways, to ensure that we made the best decision in terms of staffing, fleet for this contract to ultimately provide the best service to the residents. We currently operate in Omaha, Nebraska, and have been providing service there since 2020 to more than 150,000 homes, so this is not our first Midwest venture. Our fleet is custom designed for St. Paul, including four-wheel drive small rear load trucks to ensure tight alleyways can be collected appropriately, as well as wintry conditions, as well as trucks fueled with compressed natural gas, and lastly, but certainly not least, several fully electric vehicles in our fleet. FCC will invest nearly $30 million into our operations. This investment will be fully dedicated to the City of St. Paul in this contract. It will include more than 30 trucks, a facility and maintenance yard, and our own compressed natural gas fueling station. We will employ 60 people to ensure services at the highest level here. In conclusion, we are grateful for the opportunity to partner with St. Paul and look forward to serving the residents of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Mayor. My name is Sean Kershaw. I'm the Director of Public Works, and I get to talk about the incredible work that the team did to get to this point. I want to echo some comments. I want to echo a huge thanks to the Mayor and to Council President Jalali. I mean, we joke about trash wars in St. Paul. They have the battle scars from that, and that with this is something that's incredibly important in people's day-to-day lives. Just this morning, as I was leaving the house, I leave the house really early, I noticed near the Excel Arena that there was a lot of trash out that had been left there. On my way back from the gym, our team was out there. The folks behind me were there picking up that garbage with the police, part of an enterprise approach. So a city that the mayor talked about, we talk about equity, we talk about sustainability, we talk about safety, we talk about prosperity. Solid waste and recycling are how that becomes real every day for all the residents in St. Paul. As the mayor mentioned, this is a small change for the city to take on 10% of the service, but it has a huge impact. We were going to have 6 trucks. One of them is behind you. We're buying 5 more. The drivers that we have with the CDL, and congratulations to the folks who have CDLs behind me. One just got them. They're going to be available in the wintertime to drive plow trucks for us. We're going to be able to service, as Dan mentioned and the mayor mentioned, the parts of town with the worst alleys and the most difficult places to reach. Because if you have a bunch of salt trucks, if you have a bunch of pickup plows, you're also good at getting there in the wintertime, as we learned a couple winters ago when it gets really tough. This capacity will help us understand what the residents need, and make systematic improvements. If there's ever a natural disaster, God forbid, we will have the capacity to come in and be a part of the effort to help clean up from that. We're going to reduce conflicts with other activities that happen in public works, like street sweeping and street maintenance, by having this capacity internally. I do want to thank again Dan for his leadership at FCC, Eureka for their long-term partnership, and everyone from the team that's been involved in making this possible, chief of which is Sarah Haas, and she's going to go next.
Well, thank you, Director Kershaw. I get the exciting role of sharing all of the changes that we're going to be bringing to the City of St. Paul. Many of these echo the feedback that we've received from residents over the last 5 years and are supported by the recommendations of the Advisory Committee. I'm so happy that some of them were able to make it here. We spent hours and hours and hours talking about garbage, and I'm really excited to say that the majority of their recommendations will be implemented. The first change that residents will see will be on November 1st, and that will be to recycling. We'll continue to partner with Eureka for our 1 to 4 unit collection, and FCC will be taking on 5+ units. We'll begin communicating with those residents impacted over the next couple months, and everyone will be notified if they have a new hauler. With garbage, most of the changes will be rolling out April 1, 2025. Mayor Carter mentioned that we'll be offering cart sharing. I'm very excited to share this opportunity because we hear about it every single day. What we'll be doing at April 1, 2025, multi-unit families will be able to apply for cart sharing. There will be minimum requirements for capacity, and if they go over, we will revoke the privilege, but it is something we're excited to offer, especially for those that don't need the service. We also will be offering opting out starting in January of 2026. This will be offered to residents that are able to provide verification of an alternative disposal source. We often hear from mixed-use residential properties that maybe they have a small business and they have a dumpster for it, but right now they're also required to have trash service. And we'd like to help them out by allowing them to opt out and just use their dumpster service. There are a number of changes that will now be handled by the City of St. Paul. These are, again, things that we've heard from residents, we heard from the Advisory Committee. Bills will be issued by the City of St. Paul. The last bill that you'll receive from your current hauler will be January 5th for the service period of January through March. The first bill that you'll receive from the City of St. Paul will be July of 2025 and will cover the period of April, May, and June. One of the things we heard from residents is they want to pay after the fact of service. They don't want to prepay. This helps with home ownership changes and service level changes. We're really excited to be able to offer that, and we have a great team that's working on implementing that system right now. We will also be handling all customer service requests, so it'll be a one-stop shop if you need to contact the city about your garbage and recycling. We took on the customer service calls in May of last year for recycling, and we'll begin taking the garbage calls starting in April. Along with that, we're also currently doing the recycling cart maintenance, which includes repairs, deliveries, service changes. And guys back here in high vis are the ones that are doing that for you. And we'll be doing the same for garbage. We're also proactively repairing those carts. When we're out in an alley and we see a broken cart, the guys are taking care of it even before the resident is aware of it. There'll be some services that won't have a significant impact and change, and that'll be our walk-up service. People will still be able to have walk-up service if they have it now, as well as service holds. However, those service holds will be managed by the city for both short-term and long-term. We're really excited about the changes in St. Paul and our partnership with FCC, our continued partnership with Eureka, and this amazing solid waste and recycling team that's going to support these efforts. Thank you.
If you have any questions, I'm happy to facilitate Sean, Dan, or Sarah responding to them.
How long did this take to negotiate? How complicated was this?
Who wants to speak to the negotiation? Sarah?
Go ahead.
It actually was not a lengthy process, but that's largely because we took the recommendations from the Advisory Committee and put them right in our request for proposals. We set what our service expectations were ahead of time, so anyone responding knew what they were getting into. So it was a pretty easy process. FCC shares many of the same values the city has, which made it a pretty seamless process.
Some of the challenging alleys.
Well, I sure can, because the 10% we're taking is the hardest 10% in the city. So they're all over. We do see a lot more on the east side due to the hills and the tight alley conditions. We often struggle, T alleys, hooked alleys are difficult. So those are some of the more difficult areas to collect now where we've seen collection problems in the past.
And that's a component of the program that we're really excited about. The opportunity to purchase the hauling trucks ourselves and take on 10% of the city, those that are hardest to collect. That gives us the opportunity to create entry-level city jobs for folks in our community. It gives us the opportunity to negotiate a different contract by taking those hardest to service routes out of the contract with FCC, and it gives us an opportunity to ensure that to create synergies with, like I said, our citywide litter program and dumping program, while bringing on more CDL trained drivers to our city to help us clear the city in a snow emergency. There's an enormous number of synergies that creates for us, and so I could spend the rest of the time trying to describe to you just how excited I am for the trucks that the city's purchasing ourselves.
Talk a little bit about opting out. It's not opting out of recycling, it's opting out of trash.
Yes.
But it's not just going to be wake up one morning and say, I don't want to pay my trash bill anymore. What's that process? How do you
Want to talk that through?
So the process for opting out, you'll have to provide verification of an alternative disposal source. So the number one request we get is from those that have the mixed use. So there's a hair salon that I know about, and she's got a little salon and an apartment above it. She has a 2-yard dumpster. She'd like to use that instead of the cart. She'd be able to provide to us the verification that she has an alternative disposal source, and then we would let her opt out. There would still be the annual service fee, which would be applied, but there would not be the collection costs. We will also be monitoring that, and if this, if there's any abuse or we're seeing excessive litter around the area, then we would revoke that opting out.
Illegal dumping?
Oh.
Talk about second chance too.
I'm glad you brought up illegal dumping because I forgot to share one of the greatest things that we have in our new contract is that we're going from 2 to 3 bulky items collected per unit to 12 per year. So, and you will not need to schedule that unless it's an electronic. So you'll be able to just set that out with your trash. That will help. Our city staff, as well as FCC, will be looking and working on illegal dumping. On our routes, we will be collecting illegally dumped items as we see them. And with FCC, we'll be partnering 4 times a year to do community cleanups. Those cleanups will be identified by the city. City will organize litter collection, and FCC will collect the litter bags as well as illegal dumping. We're currently working in the downtown area to collect illegal dumping 3 days a week with our solid waste crew. They love getting up at 6 and doing that. And we're also partnering with Second Chance Recycling. Right now, any resident in the city of St. Paul can have a mattress collected and recycled at no cost. And we're going to continue to grow that relationship with them and look to explore opportunities for furniture recycling as well.
So ultimately the goal is to run those routes more, that we're collecting things that are dumped in the city more, but to also reduce the need, reduce the reasons why people do illegal dumping in the first place. If I'm going from 3 bulky items to 12 bulky items in a year, then I don't need to go take something out in the alley in my backyard, in the back of my truck. If I don't have to schedule it in advance, then it sort of takes away any incentive to do that in the first place. So the combination of those two things, and I think that'll require an education campaign to make sure that people understand that they have the ability to recycle that mattress. They have the ability to put their bulkies out on the curb. And I think this will make a big difference over time.
Where's the facility going to be built again?
Where's the facility going to be built? In a secret, undisclosed location.
Both the city and FCC are finalizing those details. They're not finalized, but they will be, both of them, a significant investment in the city of St. Paul.
In the trash bat cave. It's you again, sir. Yeah, that's you again.
Yeah, we're excited. excited about the cart sharing, and one of the advisory members that could not make it here was kind enough to bring me out to 15 of her properties to show me exactly what the problem is and where the need is, and that was really helpful to get that visual. But for example, a 4-unit home could have 2 carts or a 96-gallon capacity. We're still working out the details on the capacity minimums. And then we'll be exploring single family. It's a little bit more complicated for the single family because of the way that the program is paid for through property tax assessments and getting an agreement between 2 neighbors to pay. But for those that are in the 2 to 4 units, it's a single property owner and something that we'll be able to implement April 1, 2025.
Again, we're really excited about this. You both have written, the media members who are here have covered extensively some of the concerns that people have had, which over and over and over again over the past several years, we've heard concerns about the desire for an opportunity to opt out. We've heard over and over again the desire to be able to share a cart. We've heard over and over again the frustration that a triplex has to have 3 different trash bins instead of being able to consolidate to 1. And we've certainly heard the frustrations around lag times around customer service responses being inconsistent across the different companies. By allowing the options that we just described, by bringing the customer service in-house at the city, again creating a significant number of union jobs, of public sector union jobs, not just with the driving, but with the customer service responses. It helps us to respond to literally every single one of the concerns that our residents have voiced most loudly over the past several years. We're excited to get to work under this new contract, and we're excited to demonstrate what this partnership can produce for our city. Thank you so much.